Now, if you could match up a flame sensor on site to over 100 different flame sensors in the field, would you be interested in something like that? Because that's what we're going to talk about on this video right here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Gary McCreadie from HVAC Know-It-All. What we're going to do on this video is install an Emerson White-Rodgers premium flame sensor. If you guys enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified for more videos coming at you with more HVAC education. While we're on the topic of universal heating parts, I'll leave the link right here to the Emerson White-Rodgers All-Spark. That is a universal ignition control module, and I've used it in some commercial applications, and I'll have more info on that coming shortly as well. Let's talk about some of the contents in the box, and just for information's sake, the part number on this is 790843A1. We're going to get a set of instructions which we'll look at through this video. We have the wire that attaches from the ignition control to the flame sensor itself. We have a bag of loose parts which contains screws, a connector, and a sleeve which would be used in the cutting or bending process. And then we have the flame sensor itself. And the reason the rod is so long is because in order to match it up with 100 or so different OEM flame sensors, we need to have that length so we can manipulate, cut, bend, or even both to make it match up to the existing flame sensor in the furnace that you're repairing. For this specific video, we're going to use a brand new uncut or unbent flame sensor, but I have been experimenting. I have a previously cut and a previously bent flame sensor. I did some 1-minute videos on social media. I will leave the links to those in the YouTube videos so you can just go check them out. They are experimental and just kind of showing off the product. Interesting, I'm seeing here under electrical ratings is insulation resistance from rod to bracket must be 500 mega ohms at minimum. So what I'm going to do is create a separate video. I'm going to leave the link in the summary so you guys can go check out how to check in mega ohms from the rod to the bracket. Now, if we look in the manual, there are some charts that are color coded, and at the top there's a heading: no change required, cutting of rod required, bending of rod, bending and cutting. So depending on which flame sensor you have from which OEM, you will look it up. The part numbers are here, the manufacturers are here, and you can look it up and see what is required on your end to replace that flame sensor. So what we want to do is shut the power down to the furnace and make sure that there's no power present so we're working safely. So first thing we're going to do is locate the flame sensor once the power is off and we verified lack of power, and pull the flame sensor out. Now I got this pretty nifty flexible bit here I use to pull these out. Just attaches to a regular screwdriver, and we can get at that screw in this kind of awkward spot. So there's our existing flame sensor, and you can see it's got quite a bit of buildup of carbon on there. As you can see, there's quite a difference in length in the OEM part and the White-Rodgers universal part. So as you can see, we are going to have to cut this one down a little bit. Now in the manual it states that you can cut the new rod with a hacksaw blade or side cutters. If you're going to use side cutters, make sure that you have a good pair. So it's simple enough to slide the sleeve over to protect the rest of the rod while you're working with it. Match it up to the new rod and cut it to length. Now, if you have to bend the rod, there's some instructions here in the back of the manual that shows you how to do so. It's very, very simple. All we're going to do is take our flame rod and match it up just like the picture, and bend it to the right angle. You can see here that they're using the example of a Carrier model number here that is bent to a 73-degree angle. I'll take this previously bent sensor and bend it a little bit further just to show you and give you an example. And you want to take the sleeve like we did when we cut, just to protect the sensor from being damaged. So you're going to want to just take the sleeve and just kind of bend the rod to where it needs to go. I was able to bend this rod by hand, but if you find tools are better for you, then go ahead and use the tools that you have on hand. So we have our rod cut to length. We're going to install it back in the furnace and test it out. So we have lit and we have sustained flame. So an extra step at this point could be pulling out your meter and setting it to microamps and checking the microamp signal. But as you can see, we're up and running. We don't have any issues sustaining flame back to the control board. So that's it, guys. Hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Happy HVACing.